You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
A Super Smiley adventure is brought to you by State Farm.
I'm Smiley the dog. I am a mutt. I'm Smiley the dog. I'm Super Smiley. I have a cat, 2 sweets, the travel kitty. I have a big girlfriend, Angel's really pretty. I have a pony and we share a big horse. We have a big yard. Yeah, we have to, of course. I have a pool. In the summer I stay cool. Do a fountain, live in the mountain, live high on the hog. Need to be a spokesdog. I'm Smiley the dog. I am a mutt. I'm Smiley the dog. I'm Super Smiley.
Woof and Super Smiles. Welcome to a Super Smiley adventure on Pet Life Radio, the largest pet radio network in the world. I'm Megan Blake, the pet lifestyle coach, here with my possum sidekick, shelter dog, Super Smiley, who's the ambassador of kindness for the Animal Film Festival and the ambassador of kindness for State Farm. Good boy. As for me, as the pet lifestyle coach, I travel the country with Smiley, helping people adopt the right pet for their lifestyle and then help train them so they keep that pet forever. Today, we're coming to you from North Carolina. We've been traveling from California to Nashville for the Blog Pause Conference, where the best of the best pet bloggers and writers meet to talk about everything pets. And we stayed there at the beautiful pet-friendly Starwood Hotel, the Sheraton Music City in Nashville. And if you're traveling through Nashville, Super Smiley totally gives them 4 paws up. Then we were in South Florida, where we were speaking and judging at the Fur Babies Doggy Debutante Ball, where the dogs were out in their finest to raise funds for shelter pets. Totally possum. Then we went to the Miss Georgia competition, which is a Miss America preliminary, where last year the Super Smiley Flash Mob for Pet Adoption rocked it with the Miss Georgia dancers. And now, today, we are in North Carolina. And you all know Super Smiley is a Hope animal-assisted crisis response dog. And the Hope dogs were in Charleston, South Carolina during the aftermath of the Charleston shooting. So we want to extend our deepest sympathies to the families and to the communities of the victims. And a big, big thank you to the Hope dog teams who provided comfort there. Thank you again to Hope Animal-Assisted Crisis Response. And now back to our show today. As you all can see, Super Smiley and I have been traveling the country, which is perfect because on our show we explore adventures where animals lead, for animal advocacy, for adventure and fun, and they almost always lead to paths of inner discovery and greater bonding with our pets. And this is absolutely perfect for our guest today. She is Sue Sampson from State Farm. And on a Super Smiley adventure, we love State Farm. They're our amazing national sponsor. They're super dog friendly. They work with Victoria Stilwell, educating the world about bite prevention. They fund and advocate for arson dogs. They do not breed discriminate. They created the super fun canine assist team of 5 elite dogs, on which Super Smiley is their official ambassador of kindness. Y'all can find that way cute video of the elite canine assist team on the goodneighbors.com page. And here we go. State Farm works diligently on safe pet travel. And this is why we love our guest today. She's been putting together such great information for us today on pet travel safety. So we are so happy to welcome Sue Sampson. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Megan and Super Smiley. Thanks so much for having me. And thanks so much for all the really cool stuff you guys are doing. I love knowing that Smiley is a Hope dog and you've visited Charleston. What wonderful work that you're doing. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sue. And we appreciate you and State Farm so much. And Sue, a lot of our listeners know that I've traveled over 200,000 miles with pets, and Super Smiley has traveled well over 50,000 miles. So we so appreciate your messaging. And so let's start right with the basics. Sue, why is it so important to think about pet safety when we travel?
Well, Megan, I know that you know well with the many animals that you have and travel with that animals in the vehicle, especially if they're loose, can be first of all, major distraction to the driver. If they're bouncing around and moving from front to back seat, that can be very challenging for the driver to stay focused on the road. Also, in the event of a crash, the dog could be badly injured or, in worst case, killed or hurt someone else in the vehicle.
Right. Those are such good points. And your first point was that they could be distractions for the driver. And according to the American Automobile Association, that's AAA, pet distractions from unrestrained pets in the car lead to about 30,000 car accidents a year. 30,000. Isn't that an amazing number?
It's an incredible number. And one of our works at State Farm is around engaged driving, making sure that drivers keep 2 eyes on the road, 2 hands on the wheel, and their brain really focused on the task at hand. There's so many distractions in the vehicle. When we add additional passengers, especially children and pets, they can be particularly distracting to us.
Absolutely. And I really, really know this. My father was a pilot in World War II, and afterwards he helped to teach driver's education. So I was always taught, keep my eyes on the road, 2 hands on the wheel, look high, keep your vision line high so you can see everything. So I totally get that and advocate for that, Sue. So thank you for mentioning that. And you also had mentioned about the dogs. If you're in an accident and they're not restrained, they could get loose. Here's another crazy important piece of information. An unrestrained pet, if you're in a crash, turns into an airborne missile in the car. Their center of gravity is very, very high. They don't even have legs on the floor like we do. They just boom, they just fly through the air. And a 10-pound dog in an accident at 50 miles per hour, which is just actually going slowly on the freeway, 50 miles per hour, will exert 500 pounds of pressure if they hit. And an unrestrained 80-pound dog and just a slow fender bender at only 30 miles per hour will exert 2,400 pounds of pressure. That's like smashing your dog with 2,400 pounds at 30 miles an hour. So those are very scary statistics, and that really brings the point home. So, Sue, what can we do to keep that from happening in the event that we are in an accident?
We suggest that people be careful to remove all loose objects that have the potential to become a projectile in a crash. Even your child's safety restraint, buckle that in, even when the child's not in there. But as you mentioned, the weight of the dog can impact significantly, the force with a crash at even a low speed. Imagine a 100-pound dog moving about or slamming into the back of the driver's seat in a crash. So what we want to suggest people do is conduct some research on your own. Talk to your veterinarian. Understand what the law is in your state and properly restrain your pets while in the vehicle, no matter how far you're going, whether you're going to the park down the street or you're taking a road trip and headed to the beach, bringing your pet along with the family. Put them in a proper restraint and protect them along with all the passengers in the vehicle.
That's absolutely fabulous information. And you've mentioned pet restraints, and they can be 2 things. One is a harness, a travel harness, and then that's tethered to the back seat or to the seatbelt mechanism itself. So if they're in an accident, they're not going to go flying out the window or flying around. Or even more, thinking further down the road, if they're in an accident and they're restrained and you are seriously injured, then they're not going to get loose and be running down the highway while the people are helping you. So that's all really good. And then also another type restraint is just putting them in a big crate, a travel crate in the way back. I call it the way back if you have an SUV, but also to tether and secure the travel crate, which is usually easily done because the big SUVs now, they usually have clamps and places where you can hook things. Would you agree with that, Sue? What do you think about those ideas?
Absolutely. There are a number of wonderful products available to properly restrain your pet. Find out what works best for you and what is best for the size and weight of your pet. I have a 2-year-old chocolate lab. His name is Rambo. We use a harness. We use a harness, and the seatbelt goes through 2 straps on his back and helps to keep him safe as well as comfortable. He rather enjoys traveling in the car with us. He loves to go to the park, and knowing that he's kind of contained in a certain area of the vehicle makes me feel really good as a driver, and also knowing that no one else is going to be hurt by him in the event that, crash may occur.
Oh, right. That's a really good point, too, because we're talking about the safety of the dogs. But if you're in an accident and they're not restrained, the dog himself could become a projectile that could also hurt other people. So everybody needs to be buckled in. And then another good tip that's really, really simple like that is don't let your dog ride in the front passenger seat. And so you want to talk about that, why that's so important?
Yeah, the safest place for both children and pets is in the back. One important reason is the airbags.
Yes,
in a
very
crash,
important.
the airbags deploy at an amazing rate of speed, and they come out pretty far at you. And the dog could be very badly hurt and, or again, worst case scenario, killed by an airbag. So we want them to be in the back seat. It's the best place and the safest.
It is absolutely the safest. And I said not riding in the passenger seat, but that goes, without even saying that sometimes you see people going down the road with the little doggies in their laps. And I know these are good little comfort items and it's fun to have them right there with you. But they would just be squashed. They'd be squashed if that airbag came out. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And I can imagine if my 105-pound Rambo was sitting on the passenger front seat, I would have a difficult time seeing. He would obstruct my view as I'm trying to navigate.
Right, and they're not like people. If a person's leaning forward, you can say, hey, can you lean back so I can see around that corner? If you say that to a dog, they're not quite going to know.
Exactly.
They might just come over and kiss you in the face. It might have the exact opposite effect. And Sue, you along with State Farm and Super Smiley have put together some fun tips that are so important. And we want to hear about these specific tips right after the break. But first, I want to welcome our studio audience in Malibu, California, who's joining us live via technology. We have German Shepherd dog Angel, Arabian horse Starfire, his little friend Minnie Haha, and our newest addition, Kitty Bitty, are listening with their person Kim. And we also want to thank Kurgo for supplying our pet travel equipment for our travel tips video. And a big welcome to all of our listeners onto this Super Smiley adventure. We'll return with some super safe travel tips with Sue Sampson right after this. Smiley, can you wait? Good boy.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back after a short pause. Well, 4 to be exact.
State Farm, this is Andrea.
Yeah, what if I get into an accident in, say, Accident, Arkansas?
Anywhere in the U.S., State Farm has you covered.
And if I hit the only tree in Lone Pine, California?
We'll send a tow truck right over.
What if I get dinged in Denton?
North Carolina or Texas?
Both.
Then we'll send 2 trucks.
Well played.
State Farm handles more claims than any other company. Over 35,000 per day. Call 1-800-STATE-FARM and get to a better state.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
And we're back on a Super Smiley adventure with State Farm's Public Affairs Automotive Specialist, Sue Sampson. Welcome back, Sue.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And Sue, Super Smiley and I are so thrilled that State Farm is our national sponsor, and you all are so supportive of dogs. Thank you for this.
Thanks for all that you do. We're excited to collaborate with you and Super Smiley to share some really awesome tips to help everyone travel a little bit safer this summer.
Oh, well, he is totally into it, and we've been having a great time traveling the country and learning more things along the way, which is always so fun. That's one of the things that's so great about having pets is that you never stop learning. I love it. And Sue, you've been working so diligently to release State Farm's travel tips for the summer, and we're so excited that you're letting Super Smiley give his tips too. And State Farm is releasing Super Smiley's top 5 of what to pack. And Sue, let's just start there. What should we pack for our pets? Do you remember some of the things Super Smiley mentioned?
Yeah, so a blanket or a towel that your pet has slept on that helps remind them of home. And or perhaps an article of clothing or a sock that you've worn that smells like you. That's a really wonderful security blanket for your pet and will help them stay calm.
Yeah, and that is such an easy thing to do. Just sleep in a pair of socks and then throw one of them in your dog's bed or in his little crate, and he'll just feel like you are right there in the crate with him. That's I think that might be my favorite one. And then let's see, he's got some others. Do you remember some others? Otherwise, we can say them. Do you remember some of his other top 5?
A collapsible water bowl is a great idea. It's a great take-along that we want you to pull over and take a break with your pet.
Right.
Everyone benefits from stretching along the way. So if you both can stop and take a break, have a snack, a collapsible water bowl that's convenient and small is easy to pop up and have a sip.
Absolutely. And then let's see. Also, don't forget their food. Sometimes you pack everything. You think of all these details. Then you get to their destination. It's like, oh my gosh, where's the dog food? Which should be the most obvious. But so put that at the top of your list because you don't want to be where you have to switch brands. You can't find your brand. So that's a good one. And let's see. Can you remember another one, Sue?
Any medicines that
Good.
your pet may be taking, and also if you have their shot record,
Yes.
or a rabies tag on their collar, those are wonderful in the event of, you may encounter a situation where you need to call on that information.
I love that. And then the last one that he has is just any accessories that you might need. Think about it. If you need something for yourself, your dog might need it as well, like life vests if you're going out on a boat, a toy, sunscreen, maybe if you're going to be on hot pavement or hiking through a place that's hot, his boots to protect his feet. So whatever you need, your dog might need it as well. You or your children, your dog might need it as well. And these tips will be posted. We're going to make a new URL that's easy for everybody at SuperSmileyStateFarmSafeDrive.com because Sue, you all are going to be posting everybody's tips, right? Where will they be?
Yeah, the site that you gave will have all kinds of tips and resources for summer travel safety. Another key piece of information is we're asking folks never, ever leave your pet or a child, for that matter, in a car alone, especially in hot weather.
Absolutely. That's just never, ever, ever do that. It is so hot here in North Carolina right now where it's beautiful because it's been raining. So it's all green and gorgeous with flowers, but it is hot, hot, hot. I take Smiley for a walk in the morning and then in the evening and I have to cool him down. So a car would just in 1 minute would be devastating for animals and for children.
Yeah, I know. In some parts of the country, we're registering temperatures over 100 degrees. So, imagine even in a 70 degree, if the temperature outdoors is 70 degrees, after 5 minutes in a car, the temperature can rise to 82 degrees, 89 degrees after just 10 minutes. Very difficult, and heat stroke can occur to pets just as,
Yes.
can with children. And
right, very quickly. And dogs also.
We don't want to see that happen.
No. And that's another thing that's so easily preventable. Just don't leave them in the car. And again, that website or the URL pointer we're going to have is SuperSmileyStateFarmSafeDrive.com, which is way, way cool. And let's see. Oh, Sue, here's something very fun. You put together some really fun tips for traveling with pets and children, especially for this summer. It's called Summer Fun. Tell us about your Summer Fun tips.
So Summer Fun, we actually have put together with the acronym Summer Fun a tip for each letter. And we want to suggest that people take a look at those and, think about your trip. What are some ways that you can protect the precious passengers, including pets? So, one example of that is, set your GPS and music, stow your phone, restrain those pets before you go. And that allows you to always drive 2 and 2 with 2 eyes on the road, 2 hands on the wheel.
I love that.
Understand the laws for passenger restraint. Both children and pets require special attention, and no passenger ever belongs on a lap or in the bed of a pickup truck. So those are just 2 of our Summer Fun acronyms. We encourage listeners to go out and find the rest and check them out, apply them in the way that works best for you.
I love that. I love that. Summer Fun. Every letter stands for a tip, which is so easy to remember. I love that. And Sue, I'm also so happy that you mentioned that no passenger ever belongs in the bed of a pickup truck, because every once in a while we will still see dogs in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And in some states it is still legal to do that. But first of all, it's very, very dangerous. Your dog could fly out. And I often see them hanging out with their feet, their paws up on the sides. And I'm thinking, oh, that dog could just pop out if they hit a bump. Also, we're talking about the summer here. Those truck beds get so hot. And even though the breeze may be blowing in the dog's face, their paws may be just baking on that. So there's so many reasons
Absolutely.
to try to put your dog inside with the air conditioning. That's what I recommend.
Yeah.
And so
and I'll mention the F part of our Summer
Yes, go
Fun.
ahead. Yes, please.
We want to forbid paws and heads from being out of the window.
I love
this
that.
applies to both 2-legged and 4-legged passengers.
I love that. And my dog, Smiley and Angel, like all dogs, they love to smell things. They love to go. But it's very, very simple. They're just trained to not stick their heads out the window. If the window's down, they can have their noses right at the edge, like inside, like a person smelling out the window, smelling the flowers. But they just train. It's so simple. Training dogs is very, very easy. Dogs, they evolved with humans. Their brains are kind of wired to work with us. So just train your dog to not stick his head out. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can get a dog trainer or behaviorist, and they'll be able to show you some really, really simple ways to do that. And so I love that.
It's dangerous because they could be hit by flying debris.
Yes.
And the wind speed, that force of air into their lungs can actually injure them.
Yes, injure the lungs
But
and the ears.
Yeah, safer for them to keep their head inside.
I love that. And Super Smiley agrees with that when he's totally fine smelling the flowers from right inside the window. So your dog will not be missing anything. And Sue, again, you and State Farm rock it for pets. And we also, again, another super shout out to Kurgo Dog Travel Equipment for sending us the beautiful equipment in our travel video. And we have more pet travel tips and stories coming up with Sue Sampson with State Farm. Smiley, can you wait? Good boy.
Sit. Stay. We'll be right back, right after we kibble a little with our sponsors.
Remember when you swore you'd never get married, never have 4 bedrooms and a minivan, and never have...
Twins? We're having twins?
And then never happens and becomes the things you never want to be without. For all the nevers you now want to last forever, State Farm is there to help protect them with everything from life insurance to college savings and more. And that's the difference between just having insurance and having a State Farm agent. To find a State Farm agent near you, call 1-800-STATE-FARM or visit statefarm.com.
It's DesignerPetSweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit DesignerPetSweaters.com to order your 4-legged fashions today. Large or small, we fit them all. DesignerPetSweaters.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
I'm Jonathan. And I'm Drew. We're the Property Brothers, and we're on a Super Smiley adventure.
And we're back on a Super Smiley adventure with State Farm Sue Sampson, talking about safe pet travel this summer. Welcome back, Sue.
Thanks.
So, Sue, you mentioned your dog. Tell us a little bit more about your dog. Tell us about him.
So my dog, Rambo, just turned 2.
I love
he
that
is
name.
my office companion. He's a State Farm fan. He's in my office on a daily basis, and he's a safe traveler.
I love this. And again,
I go to the park, and he wears a harness.
Very, very good. And you said he's totally fine with your harness. Did you have any problems training him to sit with the harness that you could share with our listeners, or did he just take to it right away? What was your experience with that?
Actually, in the beginning, we did not use a harness. It's been through research and experience that we learned that this was a better way to travel with him and safer for everyone in our family when he was properly restrained. So he has a harness. It kind of looks like a little vest in the front, and there are straps over his back that the vehicle seatbelt goes through. He's very comfortable. He can sit or lay down.
Right.
He stays on his side of the vehicle in the back seat where he belongs.
I love that. And that sounds so simple, the way you just said that the seatbelt goes through the 2 straps. It sounds so easy. Another way is just to have a big, called zip lines that go around the entire back seat if you have an SUV, and that would work for you. So there, as you mentioned earlier, Sue, so as you said it so well, there's so many things in the marketplace now that you can find what will adapt for you and your dog and the size of your dog. So, and it's kind of fun too. It's like shopping for a whole new area, but it's fun. It's really cool.
Yeah. And we did short trips with, rewards in the beginning to, just like anything else we teach him. We do it in stages and little bits of, knowledge for him at a time and reward him. And pretty soon he comes to do those behaviors that we want with less and less reward. So now we can't even say the word car in our house unless we're actually going somewhere.
Of course. Super Smiley's over here going, well, of course. What does she expect?
It's great for folks to know whether your state has a law about pet restraint.
Very good point.
I'll mention the state of New Jersey, which is a neighbor state for me, which requires pets to be in a restraint or a carrier while traveling in a car. And if not, there are fines ranging from $250 to $1,000.
That is so good to know. Let's just state that again. Some states, by law, require pets traveling in the car to be in restraints, and that's really in a restraint. And that's really good to know. If you're driving across the country, you need to be aware if you've entered a state that requires your pet to be in a restraint, even if so. Hopefully you've started out with one, but that's really, really good to know. And Super Smiley, one of the lists he did was Super Smiley's top 5 travel safely pet travel tips. And we've mentioned all of them in our conversation, which is wonderful. And so you just hit on his first one was be sure your pet is comfortable and calm while riding in the car. Take him on very short rides down the block. So I love, Sue, that you just gave an example. You just told your little story of doing that. So thank you. So very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's just touch on cats traveling. Toot Sweet the Travel Kitty traveled over 150,000 miles with me when we were hosting Animal Attractions TV together, and we learned a lot about pet travel on the road and also about traveling with a cat, which is a little different from traveling with a dog. Do you have any comments on traveling with a cat, Sue?
Our work has really been focused on dogs specifically, but through our research for this campaign, we have learned that it is safest for cats to also be in some sort of a carrier or restraint made just for them. Same as dogs in a vehicle, even though they're small, they can still fly around and become a projectile, even in a low-speed crash.
Absolutely. And I always recommend that they be in a little travel crate because cats, oh my goodness, everybody who has kitty cats, I have kitty cats too, they're just very squirmy and they love getting in little areas. They could easily get under your feet, under the seats. So they are even squirmier than dogs. So absolutely.
And heaven forbid under the pedals while you're driving. That could be a big problem.
Big problem. So I always recommend the kitty cat staying in their travel crate, and then you restrain the crate like we would do with a big dog crate. You can attach that to the seat belt or to the seat with a tether. Or if your cat is comfortable in the car, you can put a little harness. Toot Sweet did this. We put a little harness on Toot Sweet the Travel Kitty. You just get a little doggy harness and then you can attach that. And that works just as well. So we wanted to cover the kitty cats for all the cat people out there. And so I mentioned that Smiley created several top 5 lists on different topics. We talked about, let's see, pet safety and what to pack. So let's see, there's also, oh my goodness, let's talk about some heat travel tips. Do you have anything about the heat, Sue?
Well, we want to remind folks to never leave your pet far alone, especially on a hot day.
Right. Yeah. Temperatures
inside a vehicle can rise very quickly, and it's unsafe for anyone, really, to be in a hot car.
Right. Absolutely. And then also keep the dog's feet off the hot pavement if you can. If you're going to be walking them across the street, walk very, very quickly. Try to stay under the shade of a tree and in the grass, and just be aware of that. If you were barefoot and your feet would be hot, then the doggy's feet are probably hot as well. And then let's see, I mentioned keeping them in the shade. How about offering the dogs water every hour? And that's a good idea for humans too, right, Sue?
Absolutely. Certainly, if you're driving and need to take a break for water, please pull over. We want you to be able to, keep focused on the road when you're driving, not be distracted. And certainly, eating and drinking in the car is a distraction for humans. If you're trying to attend to your pet, better to pull over and take care of
right.
That.
Pull over and take a break, and that's good to stretch your feet. Everybody take a bathroom break, get some water. And another thing that Super Smiley and I learned from going to events that were outside in the heat is if you put a wet bandana on the doggies, it's really, really good to help cool them down. That coolness is around their chest, which is part of the heat passageways, and around their neck. But you need to make sure that it stays wet and cool, because if it dries out, it's just going to be like a winter scarf. But if you keep that wet and cool, that's a really, really really good idea. I love that. And that actually can be a good idea for people too in some of these
absolutely.
Yes. And Sue, we just love you and State Farm, and we want to thank State Farm for being our national sponsor here on A Super Smiley Adventure.
It's our pleasure, Megan and Super Smiley. We're enjoying our collaboration with you and loving sharing these safe travel tips and how to travel with our precious cargo. We love our pets, and we want drivers to be safe.
I love that. And I love the way you call them precious cargo, because they are part of our families, and we do love them. And I also love that you mentioned collaboration with State Farm. So let me go ahead and mention here that State Farm's Heather Paul is joining us on our radio show here as well with a show on bite prevention. So be sure, everybody, to go to A Super Smiley Adventure show page on Pet Life Radio and scroll through our shows there, and you can look for the one on bite prevention with State Farm and Heather Paul. And Super Smiley's bite prevention tips are also on our Sergeant's Pet Health Central blog at supersmileyblog.com. And you can scroll down through the early entries to see that, because bite prevention is so important. And we so appreciate State Farm, talking about that too. You all do so much, Sue. It's just amazing.
Well, thank you. You're quite busy yourself, and we appreciate all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Thank you, Sue. And then also back to another thing State Farm is doing, a fun program, which I love, is the Canine Assist Team. Do you want to tell everybody about that? Just mention that. Sue, I know that's not what you're working on specifically, but it's a State Farm project, and it's so cute. Do you want to let our listeners know about that?
Yeah, so it's a spotlight on really wonderful animals who are, assisting people and programs and communities in a number of really amazing ways. So encourage folks to check that out.
Yeah, it's very whimsical, very, very cute. It's 5 elite dogs. There's a little video, and it's so cute. It has Ellie, the pit bull, and she's a reading dog and a therapy dog, and several service dogs. And Super Smiley there is the ambassador of kindness, and it's a cute takeoff on the basketball assist team. So it's really fun, and you can find yes.
The assist.
Yes, assist
the assist
team
campaign.
It's so fun. And so we're really happy that Smiley's included in that. And that's at the goodneighbors.com site. So we invite everybody to do that. And speaking of the ambassador of kindness, Super Smiley is on the Canine Assist team as the ambassador of kindness. And we want to invite everyone. You too can find your inner mutt superhero and share kindness around the world with Super Smiley. You just have to go to www.kindnessfilms.com. Watch his kindness video there where he's flying around the world in his red cape sharing kindness. Just watch it and share that, and we will all be planting the seeds of kindness. And Sue, again, where can we go to find the State Farm travel tips? Is it just the URL that I mentioned, or is there another State Farm link?
The URL that you mentioned.
Okay, let me say that then. Super Smiley State Farm SafeDrive.com. So we invite everybody to go there. And also you can find all of our social media pages at MeganBlakeOfficial.com. So be sure to follow us and like Super Smiley. And you can visit our Pet Life Radio blog at radioblogdog.com. And Sue, we just love everything that you all are doing. We thank you so much for all that you're doing. And Rambo, would you please give Rambo a big hug and kiss from me and Super Smiley?
I absolutely will. And please also visit statefarm.com in our Learning Center. There are a wide array of tips and information for travel of all kinds, including pets. So check that out as well.
I love that. statefarm.com and goodneighbor.com. I love that site because on goodneighbor.com, you put out just really cool things that people are doing, and they're always fun. It's always positive messaging, and I really, really like that. And also, without our amazing producer and the co-founder of Pet Life Radio, we would not be here. So a huge Super Smiley shout out, and thank you to Mark Winter, our super producer. And thank you again to Kurgo for supplying our fabulous dog travel equipment. And again, thank you, State Farm and Sue Sampson, for joining us today. Thank you, Sue.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome, Sue. And from all of us here at Pet Life Radio on A Super Smiley Adventure, we hope you love all your adventures with your pets and you have safe summer fun. Until next time, whoop and super smiles.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
State Farm, this is Andrea.
Yeah, what if I get into an accident in, say, Accident, Arkansas?
Anywhere in the U.S., State Farm has you covered.
And if I hit the only tree in Lone Pine, California?
We'll send a tow truck right over.
What if I get dinged in Denton?
North Carolina or Texas?
Both.
Then we'll send 2 trucks.
Well played.
State Farm handles more claims than any other company. Over 35,000 per day. Call 1-800-STATE-FARM and get to a better state.